there, I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate.
And today we're taking a look at On the Rocks by 25th Century Games.
And On the Rocks, players play as bartenders, trying to make different drinks, completing 3 different orders as fast as they can, using marbles that are placed in cups in sort of a rondel method. This is a game in which you are going to be pulling from a bag, completing orders, and playing cards against one another. Let's go ahead and take a look at it down below, and then we'll come back and share thoughts on this one. Alright, so here's On the Rocks from 25th Century Games. Let me show you the components and how this game works. In this game, you're going to be rolling dice, placing marbles in these different cups in a Mancala-like manner, and choosing which one of those cups you want to place the marbles in on your player board, trying to fulfill these different orders. In more detail, how this is going to work is on your very first turn of the game, you're going to roll these dice. Now, on later turns, you will start by playing any tip cards that you want to play that you've gotten from previous orders you've fulfilled, but at the beginning of the game, you won't have any, so you'll just roll the dice. And these ice dice are going to tell you how many marbles you will draw from the bag, placing in these cups. Now, you have the option on your turn to discard a marble from anywhere on your board if you want to flip one of these dice. And so you could flip a 1 to become a 6, you could flip a 2 to become a 5, or vice versa. And you can flip both dice if you want to, but you do have to discard 2 marbles to do that if you want to. Whatever you end up with at the end of that is how many marbles you will draw from the bag. And at the beginning of the game, all the different cups are going to have 3 marbles in them, and you can place your first marble in any one of the cups. However, on every turn thereafter, one of the cups is going to be empty because that'll be the cup that the player from ahead of you, the person who went right before you, that'll be the cup that they took, and so that will be where you have to start placing your marbles. So if I had 11, I would draw 11 marbles from that bag, and I would start with this cup. I can pick any color marble I want to start with, but I would have to start there, and I would go around until I run out of marbles. Now, the different colors don't mean too much for most of the marbles. It's just the different ingredients that you need in order to complete the card. And so, for instance, for this martini here, I would need 3 blue, 1 yellow, and 2 white, and place them in the martini glass in order to complete this. However, there are a few special marbles that you need to know about. We do have the clear wild marbles that can be counted as any color on any of the different drink orders, so that's really nice. You have the premium gold marbles. Now, these are very special, and if you ever take a cup that has one of those in it, you will immediately put this marble on this coaster right here in one of those slots and draw any 2 marbles you want from the bag. Not at random, you get to pick the colors you want, so those are very nice. Now, the black ones, on the other hand, those are spill marbles, and it's the same thing. If you pick a cup that has a spill marble in it, you will place that spill marble on the coaster, and you will have to draw one of these spill cards. Now, these spill cards are going to have you mostly lose marbles, such as remove 2 blue ingredients from anywhere on your player board, or maybe they will make you discard from a specific type of drink, such as your old-fashioned drink, and that sort of thing. Now, when all of the premium marble slots are filled up, or all of the spill marbles are filled up, then you will remove them and place them back into the bag so that they could be drawn again at later times in the game. You do also have one other little section here on your board, and it is a spot for you to hold 3 extra marbles that maybe you did not have a need for placing on any of your different drinks that you can put right here, and you can keep them in between rounds. You can swap those out as you go along. Now, after you have completed an order, or a drink, for instance, if let's say I filled up my old-fashioned here, I got 3 yellows, 1 green, and 2 whites, I'm going to flip that card over to indicate that I have completed it, and I will clear those marbles off, placing them back into the bag. When I do that, I also get a tip card. Now, these tip cards are going to give me money at the end of the game if I choose to hold on to this and not ever play it for its action. It would just sit here on my tip side face up, and I will gain $2 for this card at the end of the game. However, at the beginning of my turn, I could use this for the action. And most of these cards are going to be things that do something good for me. I keep this card because it says keep here, and I would get to do this action at the beginning of the game, or at the beginning of my turn. However, some of them are going to say pass, and when they say pass, I give this to another player, and it's something bad for them. And when I do that, I would give it to them, and they are going to place it right here on the complaints section of their player board to remind them that this is going to happen on their turn. Whenever I play a card, whether it's a one that says keep or it says pass, that card after it's resolved is going to go face down in the discard section right here, you can see. And those cards aren't going to count for any money at the end of the game. There is a third type of tip card that is going to say share on it, and these cards are going to give me a benefit and another player a smaller benefit, and I would get to pick who the other player is that gets that benefit. Once again, when I play that card, it would go into the discard section. When I complete all of my drinks for an order, I've had them all flipped over. I am going to clear them out, placing them face down into my completed orders here. And I will indicate, I'll tell the board I've completed order number 1, and I'll move my lemon wedge down to show that I've done that. And I will start order number 2, choosing whether I'm going to take a full set of 4 cards or only 3 cards. You get to choose that every time you start a new order. And this will continue until someone has completed all 3 orders, and when they have, and they have all their lemon wedges on the board, they will shout out last call. That person will also get to take a $5 chip here if there are 4 players in the game. Fewer players in the game, you're going to remove some of these chips. And when I shout last call, that is going to tell all the other players you've got one more turn to try and complete as many drinks as you can. The next person to finish their third and final order would get to take the next most valuable chip, so on and so forth. And when everybody's taken their last turn, that will be the end of the game. You will count up all of your money from all of your completed drinks, any tips that you did not play, and money from a valuable chip that you got at the end of the game, if you got one. Whoever has the most money is going to be the winner, and that is how you play On the Rocks. Real quick, I do want to show the insert to this game, as it is a very nice insert. Easily fits everything. There's slots for all of the components, and so that's a really big plus in my department, and I want you guys to know about that. So there you go, that's On the Rocks. Let's go back up top and we'll share our thoughts on this one. And we're back, and right now we're going to share our thoughts on this while you guys take a look at some gameplay footage. So Sam, in this game, you have some fancy looking marbles. The components are real nice. You play on these menus that fold out into a bar. First impressions, what did On the Rocks do for you?
I was really excited to play this game. It seemed to be my type of game. With the drafting, which I typically really enjoy, I do like contract fulfillment type games as well. So this is a game I was more excited than other games Lance brings to me to play.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, I mentioned the components, and everything is high quality with this game. You have lots of marbles. The marbles are all different colors. I think this is a great table presence. It really pops on the table, and it's got a unique theme. What do you think about the theme? Yeah,
we definitely don't have any themes like this with... I mean, we have a few alcohol-themed games, not many were like this.
Right. Being a bartender, I think that's a really cool idea and theme, and the mechanics behind this of getting the different ingredients to make the drinks and completing those orders, it works real well. And even the spill cards and the things you can do against your opponents, all of it really works with the theme. I think it flows real well with this one. So let's talk about the fun factor on this, Sam. Is this a fun game to you?
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. The Mancala type aspect of it is not something I've seen in any other games that we've played, besides Mancala, which we don't own. But I liked that. It was a really unique way of doing the drafting and the resource management. So I really did like that.
Yeah, I would think that that's kind of the crux of the strategy with this game in the Mancala, arranging the different ingredients in the bowls and being careful about which bowl you're putting each marble into, because you're not only setting yourself up in that, but you are also potentially keeping other players from getting the exact kind of marbles that they might want for their order. So there is strategy in that.
I think it's a good balance too, though. I think it definitely adds strategy, and it causes you to think about it really hard. But at the same time, I think we've played it multiple times at this point, and both times we've played, you kind of realize like you can't have control over all of it.
Right.
So it's still a little bit luck based. You really have control over that first marble, where it goes, what ends up in the bowl you think you're gonna want. But in general, it's not so strategic that your brain is hurting.
Yeah, at some point in this video, I did want to make a point to say that the fact that there are as many bowls available to you does kind of keep you from being able to control all aspects of that. And like Sam said, you can control a little bit of it and it becomes strategic, but you can't make a say for every marble going everywhere you want it to. And the more players you have, there's just more chaos in that. And so for some folks, I think that might make it be a little too chaotic, a little too much that is out of your control for your liking as far as the marbles and where they're going. But for others, that's okay. So you're really gonna have to weigh out whether you're the type of person that really likes to have your fingers on the game and being able to control that, or if you're somebody who can kind of just go with the flow and kind of go with the chaos. As far as being smart with the marbles you're getting and placing them on your cards, that's really straightforward. It's a simple contract fulfillment. Was that aspect of the game fun to you?
Yeah, I loved that.
Yeah, I think that's one that's really going to appeal to a lot of people. The just simply getting the colors and matching them with the cards and trying to complete those faster than your opponents, being smart about your wilds, being smart about your premium gold ones. Occasionally there might be times when you need to go for that bowl that has the spill black marble in it and just risk whatever that bad outcome might be, because it's got a lot of marbles in there, or a lot of marbles that work for you. So there is some strategy in that. Straightforward rules. This is not a hard one to understand. It seems that you really have to just kind of go over this once, and it's pretty well understood what you're doing in this game, right, Sam?
Yeah, it is a very simple game to understand the first time around. We played it with my sister, who's very much a non-gamer, and she understood it very quickly.
Yeah. And I think you explain the theme to people. This is going to be one that they get really quickly.
Yeah.
You're a bartender, you got these ingredients, you got these orders, have at it.
Yeah.
And it's straightforward. You'll get this out on the table and playing in no time. So what did you think about the race aspect to this game? Racing to complete 3 orders as fast as you can. Was that something that worked well with you?
I mean, I don't think you could have played the game any other way. I think it needed that competitive aspect to it, because getting the marbles isn't super competitive. Mm-hmm. I mean, a little bit. You may be like, oh, I wanted that gold one, or I wanted that clear one, but for the most part, it needed that, and I think it worked well.
Yeah, I agree. I think there needs to be that pressure to get things done as quickly as possible. And I think for the most part, with most players that are choosing wisely as to which bowls they're taking from, the game will be pretty tight the whole way through. Occasionally you might have one person who's falling behind just simply because there's not good choices out there for them every time. But for the most part, it's going to be a pretty tight game between first and whoever's last.
Yeah.
And so
I think both times we played, I beat Lance by 1 point.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think so.
This is a really tight game. The scores will come down to just a matter of a handful of points, and it'll come down to just 1 or 2 order cards, which kind of leads me to one of the things I'm not so keen about with this game, and that is you're really at the luck of the draw on your order cards. You know, if you get big orders, it does mean that you're going to take some more time completing those.
But I think we've seen that it doesn't take a significant amount of time to make it different.
And that's probably who's going to win this game, is the person who has the bigger payout on those order cards. If you get lower order cards, you know, you're just kind of, you know, you just hope that you can get bigger ones the next round. So, but let's get into pros and cons real quick, Sam. So what are some of the things you really enjoy about On the Rocks?
I mean, it's a really interesting game for sure. It's unique. It's very easy to play. It is a longer game, but it moves quickly. Each person, you're not waiting. There's not a whole lot of downtime. So I think that it's appropriate amount of time. It's a longer game, but it's good. You're doing something almost the whole time. And it's nice to look at too. So
yeah, on the game length there, we played at 2 players and at 4 players. The 4-player game was significantly longer than the 2-player game. The 2-player game moves pretty quick, and it's maybe 30 minutes or so. But the 4-player game is probably...
It was over an hour.
Hour and a half, close to being. Which the box says 60 minutes, so, you know, we might have been just playing slow. But it was definitely a longer game, so... What are maybe the things you're not too keen on with On the Rocks?
I mean, probably what you said about the card drafting, because you're kind of just at the luck of the draw. You don't know if you're going to get a 4 or an 8, and how that's going to affect your end score. Other than that, I mean, the marbles are all over the place. So
that is true,
you can easily lose pieces, so just being cautious about that.
Yeah,
you don't want to drink while playing this game.
You definitely want to play this game on a table. You don't want to play on like a soft surface or somewhere that the marbles can just roll away and you not be all the wiser. The marbles will definitely roll if you're not careful with this. So. But yeah, Sam, there is luck in this game beyond just the marbles. It's those cards, and really the cards can mean, you know, they can make or break it for you in this game. And I definitely felt that there were times where I was playing as best as I could. I don't know what else I could have done better, and still came out short. And you know, that's the way some games go, you know. That doesn't necessarily make it a bad game, but it is a game in which that is something that takes place with this one. So scale of 1 to 10, love to hate. I'm gonna go first if you don't mind. I want to throw mine out there. For the theme and components, this game scores perfect 10s in my opinion. But for gameplay and the luck of the draw factor kind of being a thing about this one, I'm going to give this game about a 7.2. I think it's one that I would be glad to play with, play anytime. It's not going to be the first game that I'm going to be reaching for on a game night though, simply for the fact that, you know, that you can have it make or break based on the cards that you draw with this one. But is it fun? Yes. The mechanics are beautiful, or the components are beautiful. I very much enjoyed it. So 7.2 for me. What do you give it, Sam? I
mean, I give my score purely based off of, am I going to play it again or not? And I really like this game, and I give it an 8.5.
Wow, 8.5.
Really like this. This is definitely a game I want to play again. Probably because I won the first 2 times too, though.
If I would have beat her, it might be different, folks.
That probably should come into consideration in all my scores, but I really liked it. It was a very enjoyable game.
Yeah, 8.5 is one of your highest ones this year. So you would say that this is one of the better games you've played this year.
Yeah, you've given me a lot of crap to play.
No, that is not the case.
No, it was a really enjoyable game, and I think seeing another non-gamer enjoy it just as much as I did and understand it as quick as I do, it makes me think, okay, this is something we can bring out with other friends, because I've said it before, I hate that process of explaining games to people, especially non-gamers. It's painful, and it's not their fault, it's not our fault, it's just when you're not used to certain components, it just can be painful. And this is one of those games where everybody can get it pretty quickly, and that makes me say, okay, I'm gonna play this more. Yeah,
it's kind of the perfect marriage between mechanics, theme, components, and it just all flowing. The rules make are pretty straightforward. So
game.
It's a smooth game. That is a perfect way. You're funny. So yeah, I think this is a great game playing with non-gamers. It's probably a little light for a lot of hardcore gamers out there.
But it's fun.
It is fun. It is a fun game. So There you go. That is On the Rocks from 25th Century Games. Check it out.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.